Hey friends, welcome back to Mustard Seed Homesteading. My name is Megan, and if you're new here, I'm so glad you stopped by because this is my weekly backyard garden tour and harvest where I share everything going on with the garden and we do some harvesting. All right, before we get started, I do want to unbox that second pair of Hisia boots that I told you about last week. So if you're new here, the last garden tour, I unboxed a brand new pair of Hisia boots. I'm actually wearing them right now. They're a taller black boot. Here, let me show you. They're right here, and you can see I have been wearing them every time in the garden. So I've been wearing Hisia boots for, I want to say, the last 2 to 3 years. So when Hisia reached out to me and asked if I'd be willing to share their boot, I was like, absolutely, because I've been using their products. So much so that I wore the sole out on the bottom of the shoe. I'll leave a picture right here of what it looked like. I had to throw them away, obviously. But what's great about Hisia, when I had shared that with them when they were reaching out to me, not only did they send me a pair to share with you all, but because they're lifetime guarantee, they sent me a second pair to replace the ones that I bought a couple years ago, and that's what we're going to unbox right now. So I typically just stick with like an all black boot because I usually am wearing black leggings outside, but I ventured out and got a different kind of color, and they're not as high or tall as the boots that I have now. These are more, I would say, kind of mid-calf, but not fully mid-calf. And see, look, it's lifetime guarantee. Hopefully you can see that. I'll show it to you afterwards because I'm holding the box. But these are the boots that I got to replace the ones that had holes at the bottom. Aren't they super cute? I think this would look really cute though with a pair of black leggings and just like a black t-shirt. So very excited about wearing these. I'm not going to put these on for the video, but I will wear them on some of the backyard garden tours for sure. I will say that the fact that they have a lifetime warranty and the boots lasted me for as long as they did and they keep my feet dry. And here's the other thing, they're very comfortable. The cushion of these boots and the thickness of the sole is really what sold me because my feet hurt at the end of the day. So much so because I've had vein surgeries over the last couple of years, and so having these boots have been a huge benefit for me being back here in the garden because I'm out here a lot. So they've been tremendously great. So I just wanted to show this to you. But friends, if you are looking for a boot, definitely check out Hisia. I will leave the code, everything in the description below if you want to check them out. Now, before we actually get into the garden tour, because it is extremely hot out here, this is again why I'm out here in the evening. We are hitting 90 something degrees. I probably shouldn't be out here, but I figured being here in the evening with a hat on and I got my water and everything like that, I should be good because I do want to give you some updates because I have been hauling tail out here trying to just finish up the last little bit. I have 2 more beds, and really it's just the green beans in the beds that I pulled out the last little bit of broccoli. And friends, I am pretty much completely done other than just replanting throughout the season because we do have a long growing season. So I am very excited to show you and give you some updates of the garden. I want to start at that end because that's where I've been kind of finishing up with the garden. Before I show you everything I've been doing over here, I do have to show you I have 2 things to harvest right now. And friends, this is another huge win for me. I have 2 more squashes. And if you've been watching me, then you know, you know how big of a win this is for me. First of all, look at this other yellow squash. So this is definitely ready to harvest. But friends, can you believe this? And I think I see another one growing. Actually, hold on. There was one right here that was dying. So I'm going to take this one off because I do see a fresh one starting. But this one is ready to harvest and I cannot be more excited about it. So either this spot is the best or the timing of when I planted it, but either way, I'm going to try to do the same exact thing next year. So I took the dead one off right here, but do you see that little yellow one? I'm hoping that we'll have another squash to harvest. Now for the next exciting squash. Are you kidding me? Look at this gorgeous black beauty squash. This is the best I have ever done, ever. Look at this beauty. And I think I see another one growing. Wouldn't that be something if I just kept getting squash all summer in those bags? I am so happy right now. Yeah, there's another one right there, so hopefully we'll get another one. I want to start on this side because I have, like I said, been working really hard over here. Now, I did clear up a lot of the grow bags. These are my leftovers, and what I ended up doing was I added more soil and then just strawed it, so these are ready to plant. I might actually just put all green beans in there. I might even just leave them where they're at. I'm not entirely sure. I may even add them to my little long island of grow bags here, because you can see all this water that is coming from the beds is watering the underneath of these grow bags, which I gotta tell you, when I came out here the other day, because everything back here is just not shriveling, but it has been incredibly hot. And so what's been kind of a relief for me, not to say that I don't water these, because I still do water the top of the bags over the straw, but having the water drip down the way that it does under these bags gives me a little bit of relief that I don't have to water them right away if I don't have time or whatever the case may be, because look at how much water is flowing and all those bags are catching it, which is also why I added a few more, because you can see, look at all this water. I could probably still add bags, but I'm not going to, because I do need somewhat of a walkway, but these bags are catching it, which is why I added a few more in between the really large bags. And all I added was a lot of flowers, companion plants. There's a little bit of amaranth right here. I did go ahead and put some green beans in some of these bags, and it's pretty much the 5 gallons with the little like a tripod teepee, because I found that the bamboo sticks that way does a really good job of supporting bush green beans. Something I do want to quickly share with you, when I was back here yesterday planting and just working, I noticed that my pumpkin vines were not looking good, and immediately I knew that it was vine borers. So what I ended up doing is I actually planted the vine that had the vine borers. I got them out. I opened up the vine with my scissors, which they can handle it depending on how you do it. If you completely chop it off, it's obviously it's gonna not do good. But I kind of opened it like a slit on the side, took them out, and then I planted them under a bunch of soil and put straw over it to protect that part of the vine. So far, they're doing good. You can see they're looking healthy, but it happened to this pumpkin and this one. So it's something that I'm gonna have to keep an eye on, and if I end up getting vine borers, that's just what I'm going to do. I'm just gonna make a slit in the vine, take out the vine borer, and then I'm just going to plant the rest of the vine under some soil and straw to protect it. And then what I ended up doing with these, and I shared last week that I took some starts and put them in here, but 3 of them died, and then these 2 look okay. Not very promising, but we'll see what happens. I still have a long time to grow food, so I'm not in a huge hurry. But I did end up putting some new seeds. So this one is Minnesota Midget Cantaloupe. Then we have a Sangria Watermelon. And then this is the Melondade F1 Cantaloupe. I can't even read my own handwriting. This variety and this variety are brand new cantaloupes that I just recently bought. The Sangria is newer too, but I'm kind of wondering how this is going to go. Now, the reason I put them in just these bags is I want to see if they can grow alongside here, which I probably should then give this a new home. But I want to see how it does on the ground, because I've experienced growing cucumbers on the ground over by my beds, and they did phenomenal. And so I'm just kind of experimenting here to see what happens. You know what I am excited to show you? We finally have some tomatoes, and I know because I've actually came over here and snacked on them. Friends, when I tell you these are so flavorful, the white cherry currants are absolutely hands down my favorite. I love the sweet pea currants, but these, if I had to choose one, that one is my favorite. So we have a ton of tomatoes. Now, I'm not going to harvest any of these because those are not quite ready. And I like to come out here and just snack on these, so I'm gonna leave those alone. But we do have a lot of cherry tomatoes over here that are starting to change color, and they're doing really good. So it's just gonna be a matter of time until we start harvesting them. I will say though, I think it was a really good idea to switch the bags out from the 5 gallons to the larger bags. I see a huge difference in how these are doing this year than last year. And then this little area of cantaloupe is doing phenomenal. Everything is growing so good. I'm gonna call it my little island of cantaloupe because it's just a bunch of bags put together. I cannot wait until we start harvesting cantaloupe. I think I did see a couple of little buds, but they're super teeny tiny. And I think probably within the next couple of weeks. But so far everything's doing good, and I think also having these in the really large bags as opposed to smaller bags is making a huge difference. And I think what makes such a big difference is the fact that they're in really large grow bags, because the soil stays moist longer, especially with the straw on top, as opposed to having them in 5-gallon grow bags, because I don't always have the time to water back here. And I noticed that in my backyard garden with 5-gallon grow bags, they dry out a lot faster. So having them in these larger bags was a really good idea. And everything on the other end over here is doing really good. You can see everything is just, yeah, getting watered, because I have been watering these beds. They need it so bad. It's been really hot. However, I will say I love having the raised beds because it does retain moisture a lot easier and quicker than as opposed to shorter bed. And that does help with not having to water so much. Plus the water grids. I mean, friends, these water grids are such a time saver. I am so glad that I invested in this. So this is by Garden in Minutes. I will either, well, I'll tag it in the video, but I also have it in the description below if you're looking for something. But I want to say this is my 3rd year having it, and I love these. In fact, when we build the beds back here, the 2x5s, that's what I plan to get for those too. By the way, look at this gorgeous basil. I do need to harvest a little bit for my salad later. So I'm going to stand from the back of the garden because these are all of my tomato beds, and there's nothing to harvest, but there are so many little tomato clusters. So I'll show you a couple, and then what I want to do is show you all of the peppers that are growing over there. I do want to mention though, I came in here the other day and I cleaned out a couple leaves. This was getting quite messy in here. And then I did add some 7-foot bamboo sticks for some of the tomato plants that had some extra leaders. I like to keep them on there sometimes, and I'll just put them on their own bamboo stick. There's a tomato right there, and I have some over here. There's a little cluster, and here's another little cluster. Look at them. Oh, I cannot wait, friends. And then there's some more over here too. And I probably should cut down some of this Tulsi holy basil. Look at how massive they got. This is like an entire bush. I do need to cut some of that down, but everything's growing really good. And everything looks really healthy too. That's what's real exciting about growing tomatoes, is making sure that they're healthy. Now, there are a few leaves that are looking a little diseased. I don't take every single leaf off. I will leave some on, but I will tear off enough so that there's breathing room in between the plants. And our grow bags with the Romas are doing really good here too. This needs a little bit more time to get growing, but they're doing really good. And there's our tomato plant that's growing out of the ground, and it's already showing buds. Look at that. How fun is that? Oh, I love volunteer plants, and I love watching things grow out of the ground. By the way, I just have to share this. I finally got down to just a couple leftover Greek dwarf basils. There's a few amaranth that I'm actually going to keep in there as long as I can because the bugs are chewing them up, so it's doing a good job of being a companion plant. And then I have a lot of leftover pepper plants that I'm probably going to either plant some in the green stalks that I have left over, or I'll just figure out a home for them, or hopefully find a home for them to some neighbors or some friends. And then this yucca really needs to get planted. It has been very patient. It should have been planted a long time ago, but I'm planning to plant them in here. Last thing I want to quickly show you before we go ahead and harvest some of the peppers and I give you updates on there. Cucumbers are doing really good in the wood beds. This is my next project. I have to clear this out, and then I want to plant my bush green beans. I'm pretty sure that's just what I'm going to do. I wasn't sure at first, but that's more than likely what's going to happen. So it'll be bush green beans in here as well as this bed. And this is pretty much the last thing I have to do other than waiting for the platforms to get built for the green stalks that you saw on the driveway. And before you know it, all these cucumbers on both of these sides are going to grow right over this trellis. I cannot wait, and I am so excited about it. And here's another tomato plant growing out of the ground, as well as this one at the end of the pepper bed. Now for the peppers. I want to show you that bed first, and then we're going to look at this one last. By the way, I'm still loving these snapdragons. I think this is what I will be planting with peppers. So far, they're looking really good and beautiful, and they're not overwhelming. That's the main thing for me. I don't want them overwhelming. Something I do want to quickly point out though is I had to put a bamboo stick for this cayenne pepper. It was actually getting incredibly tall. Look what we have to harvest. So this is my first Melrose pepper. Look at how gorgeous this is. Look at how beautiful this red is. I am very happy that we're harvesting. So I think the Melrose pepper is going to be on my list of some of my favorite peppers to grow now. We don't have any other peppers, but there's a lot of little baby peppers everywhere. This Jimmy Nardello is starting to turn color. I'm just impressed with how green and lush everything looks. Okay, we have some pepperoncinis, and you know what? I think I waited too long. This one's a red one, which means it's gonna be a hot one. Oh yeah, that's a hot one. I'll harvest a couple more. Oh yeah, they were like, I'm not waiting for you, we're gonna turn red. They're like a maroon red. Oh, I didn't even see this jalapeno. Ooh, this is a big one. Look at this one. Ooh, that's a big jalapeno. All right, there's more, but they need some time to grow. I think I might have to do like a backyard garden tour on just peppers because there's a lot going on here. Now for this last bed before we end the tour, I do want to mention something though. Do you see this vining plant? So I have no idea what this is. It just started growing and I didn't have the heart to take it out because I'm so curious as to what this is. I've never had anything vining in this bed, so I'm kind of wondering what it could be. So I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on this, but look at how much this has grown. And I don't see any fruit on it yet. Wouldn't that be funny if it's a melon? That would be funny, right? I did see a Jimmy Nardello. I want to harvest it real quick. Look at this gorgeous Jimmy Nardello. When I tell you, this right here gets me so excited. These are some of my favorite peppers. It is so sweet. And look at how fun this looks. I mean, look at how it grows. I do have an Italia pep that I want to harvest though, because I think it's red enough. Look how pretty. And all those bell peppers are super exciting. I cannot wait to harvest those. I think 2 of them are yellow monster and then I think the other one is a Napoleon sweet. So these are supposed to be yellow and that one's supposed to get red. All right, you see, I didn't even know these were over here. So this is the Melrose pepper. So this is why I'm saying I think this is going to be my new favorite because look at how much I'm already harvesting so far. We do have a Cali Wonder 300, but I want this to get a little bit bigger. And there's a Cali Wonder right there. So if you remember, we have a Cali Wonder here and then a Cali Wonder 300 so we can compare over the summer. All right, well, friends, we're going to wrap it up tonight because it is just incredibly hot out. But as I said, I'm going to be doing those last 2 beds. I will be planting some more sunflowers. I had to get that far end of the garden done first. I feel so relieved, you have no idea. But I am just excited with everything that is growing so far. Everything seems to be doing really good, which means there's going to be constant change in the garden every single week. By the way, grapes so far are doing good. They haven't changed color, so I'm gonna wait. I know that the Japanese beetles should be kind of finishing up their cycle soon. I already see some new green growth, some leaves on the branches. So I'm gonna give this a little bit more time and see what happens. All right, friends, let's go ahead and see what we harvested today. Okay, I'm gonna grab them individually because, well, first of all, I mean, are you kidding me? Look at this. I am so excited about the zucchini and the squash. You have no idea. And they're big and beautiful. I probably could have harvested them a little bit smaller, but that's okay. You know I'm not going to harvest them without being with you guys. So this right here is a huge one. And hopefully, like I said earlier, we'll be able to harvest some more. Then of course, I got a little bit of basil. This just screams summer to me. I'm gonna use this in our salad tonight. And then we have peppers. I mean, friends, with this evening light, I mean, I say it a lot, but this is why I also like to do evening tours because it just makes the colors pop as opposed to during the day when it's super bright. It's really hard to see the color. But we got Jimmy Nardellos. We got a lot of the Melrose peppers, the Melrose Park peppers. I can't wait to try these. And then we got ourselves some hot peppers in there, some pepperoncinis. And then I think this is a Napoleon sweet, might be a Melrose pepper, I forgot. But either way, this is a good little harvest of peppers. And you saw the other ones that are growing, so hopefully we get some more. And then lastly, I do want to show you, look, I got another little tray of blueberries. I didn't really think they were going to actually start changing color because they seemed like they were sitting there for a long time. And then all of a sudden, I shared this last week, I saw some birds going to the blueberries. I'm like, first I thought it was my strawberries on my green stalk. I'm like, what are they doing? And I realized they were pecking at the blueberries. So I just went ahead and harvested them as quick as I could because I didn't want them getting it. So we got some more fresh blueberries. So I had to add this in here because I want to try and share as much as I can with how I'm using my backyard garden to make meals for my family. So I ended up cooking the zucchini and squash and used up the rest of the broccoli from last week's harvest and chopped up the stalks and the little bit of florets that I had and made a beautiful side dish with our meal. So as you saw, I pre-chopped the zucchini and squash to make my life easier ahead of time, coated the pan with some avocado oil, and I added all the zucchini, squash, and broccoli stalks with the florets, and I chopped them in bite-sized pieces. Then, of course, I added some of my favorite seasonings, onion powder, garlic powder, and paprika, and mixed them all together. Then I decided to take a couple of potatoes that I had already pre-cooked from a previous dinner and added it in with the vegetables. And then, of course, I stuck a big chunk of butter on top because everything tastes good with butter, and mixed it all together and let it cook for about 15 to 20 minutes, enough to let everything soften, but not completely mushy because zucchini and squash cook kind of fast. And now you can see everything is cooked beautifully. I browned it a little bit and let it kind of fry in the pan a smidgen. And we paired it with some leftover ham and pineapple that I had and just a little bit of rice that my husband made using the garlic from the garden. And friends, this is why I love to garden in my backyard, because making meals like this brings me so much joy. Well, friends, I'm so glad that you all stopped by, and I hope that you're enjoying your summer gardens. And I cannot wait to do some harvesting this summer because I feel like we're going to be harvesting a lot. And I also want you to know that I greatly appreciate every single one of you and always look forward to turning this camera on and sharing the garden. And I also want you to remember this, friends. I want you to be encouraged, stay encouraged, and I want you to always stay inspired. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.